Well, welcome to the Seven Figure Builder Show. My name is Julie Baranek, founder of Seven Figure Builder, where we help high achieving CEOs connect with their dream clients to scale to seven figures and beyond. And I'm here today with my friend, Abby Bradetich. Hey, Abby, I'm thrilled to have you on today.
I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, totally. So first and foremost, where in the world are you?
I am located in Denver, Colorado.
Beautiful. And it is gorgeous this time of year there, right?
It is. Yes. Yes. Absolutely beautiful in the fall.
Nice. And for those that haven't had the pleasure to meet you yet, can you tell us just a bit about what you do with your business?
Yeah, so I am the owner of Illuminescence Creations. We do branding, copywriting, web design, and social media management for bold female founders around the nation, around the world. We like to help them increase their visibility, impact, and income through the services that we provide. I actually just recently kind of transitioned it into an agency format versus just like me by myself. I enjoy working with a team. I enjoy leading a team and working collaboratively with people to bring my client's vision to life. So that's the direction we're heading. And that's where we've definitely been growing a lot into this year.
Awesome. That's really exciting.
Yeah, it's been fun so far.
Cool. So talk to me about where does that process start? Like, do you help people with that initial vision and then all the way through, or how do you guide people through that?
Yeah, typically people come to me either wanting the brand and web design or social media. They usually are kind of on one end of the spectrum or the other. And then a lot of times we end up working with clients more than once. Usually, especially if they start with brand and web design, they usually come back for social media management or a VIP day for social media to get their account really optimized, because we do a really deep dive with each of our clients when we get started into their brand voice, into their ideal client, and truly understanding who they are so they feel like they can trust us and they know that we are already able to execute their vision through their brand and website and copywriting as well. So then adding on the social media management aspect at the end is like almost a no-brainer for a lot of them, because they already feel comfortable with us. They know that we've already know everything about them. We don't have to like go through that whole process again. So it typically saves our clients time to just continue working with us. And we've already built that relationship, which is one of the parts that I enjoy the most, is building that relationship and then carrying it through and getting to see our clients grow. And, because a lot of times they either come to us like right at the beginning, or like we're in that mid-level where they're doing well, but they are ready to take it to that next level. And so being able to watch them grow and help them scale their business is really like awesome for us to get to do and be a part of. And yeah, especially just seeing them grow in empowerment and confidence is one of definitely the best things about it.
Definitely. And knowing that you've had your fingers on the different pieces of their business, that's always cool to see it out in the market.
Yeah, for sure. And especially because I feel like it's so easy when you're stuck in your business every day, especially like we work primarily with service providers. And when you're doing client work every day, it can be so easy to like kind of push yourself to the side or like not hype yourself up as much. And so I like to say that we're like your hype women. We are the people that are going to come in and be like, no, you are like really good at this. Like we need to really put that out there in the world more and bring more of who they are and their personality and their authority into their content and into their website, into their branding, all of that good stuff, because that is what sets you apart, is who you are as a business owner. And a lot of people, it can be just so easy to kind of make vanilla content or to kind of put out things that they think people want to hear rather than being true to themselves. And so being able to pull that out of people is really a fun process as well.
Totally. And that's something really big, actually, because I think for so many of us, the things that we're good at oftentimes are very easy for us. So we don't put as much weight and power into those things that are our strengths. And then,
Right.
like you mentioned, you tend to kind of just, meld into the noise online if you don't really capitalize on those and use it as a key differentiator to set yourself apart in the marketplace.
Yeah, exactly. For sure. For sure. And yeah, it's really about not being afraid to share like your authority and what makes you awesome. Cause I find that people do like struggle with, and as a business owner, I'm the same, like everybody. I feel like that's why you work with coaches and you want like mentorship and things like that, because they're like, no, you really do need to like, it's okay to be your own hype person and like really share what makes you good at what you do, because that is what's going to connect with your clients and make them want to book with you because they're like, oh, she actually knows what she's doing.
Yeah.
And like being able to like effectively share that online helps your content and your website do the hard work for you. And so that's what we like to help our clients do so that they don't have to do so much of the selling. It's like by the time they talk to people, they're kind of already bought in. And that's the goal, obviously, for everybody. Less work so you can get those sales without having to try so hard.
Working smarter, not harder, right?
Yes, exactly.
So what are the gaps that you see a lot of your clients have or have come across as you're working with them?
Yeah, I would say first is like not being as clear as they should be on ideal client, or kind of getting stuck in this like idea of what a niche needs to be, because it is important to niche down. And when you're first starting out, usually people don't, or they're like kind of afraid to. And then when they hit that kind of mid-range where they're like making good money, they have clients, but they're not necessarily working with the people that they want to be working with, or they're not like able to push past that like boundary of where they're at. That's where it's really important to then get way more clear on your ideal client and your niche in terms of who you want to help and how you want to help them in a more specific way. And I like to tell people that niching down doesn't have to be what people think it is. Like, it doesn't have to be, oh, I help realtors with social media management. Like, I would get bored if I worked in the same industry every day. And I think there's a misconception that you have to choose an industry in order to niche down. And that's not necessarily true. Like, you can choose a type of person or like the values behind that person in order to niche down in that way. And I find that that aligns better with my clients rather than trying to pick an industry or being more specific in that way, because then you're aligning yourself with the type of people you want to work with. And that gives you the more like energy and inspiration to do the work with them along the way. So finding ways to get really clear on that, and then transitioning that into how do we connect with them, and like being able to fully express the transformation you can provide and connect with what they want. A lot of people focus on their pain points, which is great. Like, you obviously want to focus on what your ideal client is struggling with, but then you want to be able to tell them where you can take them. And that, I find, is where people kind of lack a lot of times. Like, you're focusing that maybe too much on the negative, or you're not explaining to them how you can take them to that next place. And so being able to connect those dots usually is like obviously within the ideal client, but also brand voice development too. We do a deep dive with all of our clients, no matter if they're branding or web design or social media management. That's the deep dive we do with all of our clients at the beginning. And it gives them so much more clarity in what they're doing and who they're serving and how, and helps them feel then more like re-inspired to go back into their business and realign everything else with what they're aiming for.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And I think that transformation is so key, and being able to clearly articulate that and paint that picture, right? It's more than just like, I help you do this. It's, this is how your life and your business can change based off of my expertise and what I see. And, you know, being that mirror so often, like that's what you are for your clients, is you're that mirror back to them. But, you know, you help them, you know, your clients help their clients by helping them with their transformation.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think so often, so many people think that what you just described happens at the beginning, right?
Yeah.
But how often do you encourage your clients to kind of revisit their ideal client and make sure that everything is in alignment?
Yeah, totally. I find that even looking into it every year helps, because so much can change in a year. And it doesn't mean that you're making big changes. Like, you're still serving female founders, but maybe the type of female founder is changing, or like the values that you want to align with are slightly different, or maybe you're, obviously serving them in a different way. So I like to revisit it every year, because I find that you grow so much as a business owner. Like, that's just a part of being a business owner. And so like being able to reassess each year and make sure that who you're serving and how you're serving them is aligned with who you are now in that moment also is really important. And that doesn't necessarily mean that something will change, but it is like important to reassess and make sure that also that like your website and your content is still aligned with that, because things can change. And I've had clients come back to me a year later and be like, oh, I've adjusted, I've grown, like I want to then reassess what's on my website or how I'm creating copy and that sort of thing. So yeah, I like to do it everywhere. It's not like, obviously you don't have to, but I think it's helpful for sure.
Yeah, no, I agree. And so often, like you mentioned, that growth happens organically, right? And so you might make little tweaks here and there to your website and look back a year later and it's like, wait, this is confusing, right? You need to make sure everything is aligned to what your dream clients are actually looking for and asking for. And like, how do you recommend for your clients to actually know what their dream clients are looking for? And like, we can guess, right? But that's not necessarily the clearest way to get answers.
Right, for sure, for sure. I mean, definitely doing market research obviously helps as a business owner in terms of definitely if you're like wanting to launch a new service or offer product, whatever. But we also like on our side of things do research as well into our clients, ideal clients, so that we can properly serve them and write copy that connects with them. But really it helps to think about, again, it kind of comes back to the transformation that this client is wanting to get out of it. So like, what do they want? Do they want more sales? Do they want, more impact, that sort of thing, and being able to then draw the line between what you're doing and how that's going to change their lives. And that I find is what people leave out the most and is the most important to be able to express. So I know I already have talked about that a little bit, but like, it's just such an important thing. And once you can better define that, then it's easier for you to connect with your ideal client because you are able to draw that line for them. And then the other way I find that is that just like being yourself and being your genuine, like authentic person within your business and allowing that to show up as well, because anybody can do brand and web design. There's a million brand and web designers out there, but what makes my business unique is me. And that's how it is for everybody else. And so pulling more of that into your content and not being afraid to share that, and not being afraid to share like your spicy opinions and your like authority and what has brought you to this point, like everything ties in. And so being able to connect the dots for everybody helps them connect with you and then understand the transformation that you can provide from one point to the other.
Definitely. How do you find that plays into social media? Like, I know so many people feel buried in their social media, like it's just one more thing that they have to keep up with. But do you have any tips, techniques, to help people not feel like they're overwhelmed?
For sure. Yeah. I mean, social media can be overwhelming. I always try to tell people, especially if they're doing it on their own, that like, it's okay to do the minimum. Like that's, it's really okay. Like it's okay to only post 2 or 3 times a week. Like as long as you're consistent, you just have to obviously understand that you're not necessarily going to get the growth that other accounts are going to get, but like making it manageable for you. And then coming up with like the types of content that you want to speak about, which people say content pillars, which there can be, like educational or whatever, value-based, spicy opinions, that sort of thing. But what I find that most people do is like a little bit too much educational, which it's like, it's great. Obviously, like you want people to know that you know what you're talking about, but you want to provide more authority building content and more things that share your values and your opinions and the things that make your business good at what it does. And so finding ways to incorporate that into your content can be a little bit tricky at first, especially when you're like kind of lost in the sauce in social media and you're like, I'm just showing up to show up. It can really be tricky to then develop that strategy to connect with your ideal client. And I find that the authority building ones are some of the most difficult for people to come up with, because it is, again, you're having to hype yourself up and people don't necessarily like to do that, which like I feel, I'm the same way. Like it has taken me pushing myself out of my comfort zone to like be like, I'm really good and this is why, even without, without this or whatever. And so it's just like, you don't have to shy away from sharing those things. And I find that that is sometimes the most difficult, but if you can like even sit down and write down like 5 awesome things about you and your business, and then try to create content based off that, as long as you're connecting it back to what you do or how you serve your clients, then it's going to work on social media, and it'll actually probably have a bigger impact than what you think. Like posts that do really well even are like, these are that I'm, aiming for really awesome things in the next quarter. Here's what I'm doing for myself that's going to serve you better. Like, and then you're really just talking about how you take care of yourself, but like actually you taking care of yourself is benefiting your clients. You just have to draw the line between what you're doing for yourself and how that is benefiting your clients. So that type of content I do find is the hardest, but I think it's also the most rewarding on social media. And so finding ways to incorporate more of that into your strategy can help a lot.
Definitely. Yeah. And it's, more organic through your week, I would think, to come up with those types of posts, but it can be hard to come up with that content for sure. So talk to us about your journey. Have you always done this, or what has that looked like, to bring you to this point in your career?
Yeah. So I actually got my college degree in dance. So I was a professional dancer for a while doing modern, loved that, but I always knew that that wasn't going to pay the bills. And so I started yearbook in high school and then did it in college where you get paid, which is nice. So that was like my job in college. And that's like really where I started graphic design and really understanding how to work with a team, how to lead a team. I was the editor in chief in college. And so that gave me the skills to kind of, like project management and a lot of the things that I use now. And that was, over 10 years ago. So I have been doing graphic design a really, really long time. And in college is when I started like my freelance journey. I would do posters for the dance school that I was in or for nonprofits. And once I got out of college, I did a internship at a magazine. I always thought I was going to be a magazine editor, and I always loved that world, which I still love it, but I also am so glad I don't, because I know it'd be way too much work and those hours are crazy. They work a lot. So I'm glad I don't, but I did think that that maybe was the route I was going to go. So I did an internship at a magazine after college, and that was really where I dove into the social media world. So I've been doing social media, I guess, 8 years now, which I always think it's less than it is, but I've been doing it a lot longer. So that kind of is where my freelance journey began, was right after college or in college. Then I lived in Seattle for a few years. I worked for a yoga studio and event space there and was their graphic designer, web designer, started doing brand design there. And when I moved to North Carolina, I worked at Duke University for a little while. And then that's really where I started getting my freelance clients, was in North Carolina when I lived there. Especially during COVID was when I kind of was officially making the transition. Obviously, like everybody else, I was laid off. And so it was kind of lost in the sauce, but I still had some freelance clients that I had picked up either from Seattle or from Durham, where I was living. And after a year of kind of fighting it, I was like, I need to just dive in and make this happen. So in December of 2021, I officially started my business. So we're coming up on 2 years almost.
Nice.
So it hasn't been long officially, but I feel like I've been doing this work a long time. And so I've been really, really grateful to have the support of clients that have referred me all over the place. That is how I got almost all of my clients, definitely at the beginning. Still have a really great referral network now, which is awesome because I love working with people who know other people that I know. It's fun to connect and helps obviously expand our business as well. But being in the online space has grown it way more than I could have imagined. So it's been a journey for sure. It started, with yearbook, but those are skills that I still carry to now and work through and enjoy doing for all of my clients.
I love it. Yeah. And there's definitely that thread all the way through. You can definitely hear it. And that's awesome. It's funny how our most unexpected parts of our journey end up feeding us to where we ultimately end up going. I know mine's been crazy, wild, twisty, turny road as well. So
for sure,
bring it all with you, right? It's what makes you who you are.
Yeah, exactly. And you use the skills that, even as a dancer, I got a lot of skills from that I still use in my business today. It's everything is applicable, and you don't know what you're carrying with you until you really think about it. And that's definitely a fun thing I get to do with my clients too, is make them actually think through what they did before and how that can apply to what they're doing now, because it does. People just don't necessarily think that way.
Absolutely. So what is coming up next for you in your business? I know you said you're growing, you're expanding your team. What does that look like?
So, like I said, we actually just rebranded this past weekend. I did it for my birthday this last weekend. So that was kind of is the first step in this up level, because it just felt like the right time. I'm almost at 2 years in business, and I feel like I really am on the course that I want to be on, growing this agency. So also, because we repositioned as an agency, I wanted to make sure that our branding was aligned and was connecting with a higher level of client, and also feel more like me, because what I was doing before was not bad. There's nothing wrong with it. It just felt too nice. And I'm more here for the bold, change makers. Like I want to work with people who like want to bring that fierce energy into the world, because that's where I am at as well. And so I wanted our branding to align with that. So that was the first thing. We're also doing a complete overhaul of our website. So that will launch in December for our business anniversary. So I'm really excited. I love getting to actually work on my stuff for my business, because when you serve clients all the time, it can be hard to make the time for yourself. But giving our own business the TLC that we give everybody else has been amazing. And then, yeah, as an agency, we're growing. Ideally, I want someone in each position of the business, of each thing that we do. So branding, copy, web. We have social media right now, and then like obviously admin type people, so that we can have a collaborative team that can work together to bring our client's vision to life. So it's a slow build, but it is something that we're working towards as an agency to better serve our clients, and something that I personally have been wanting to do. It kind of relates back to wanting to be a magazine editor. Like I want to work with a team and just be the person leading and be able to help our clients, bring their vision to like reality. So it's been a fun, hiring has been interesting. I ended up hiring 3 different times for the social media role that we have right now, but the third time was the charm. She's amazing. I love her. She is crushing it so far. So that's been really exciting to be able to do that. And also like that's developed who I am as a person, because you have to step into more of a leadership role when you start hiring and things like that, which I've really enjoyed. But it has been, lots of learning experiences along the way as you try to navigate that world and find the right people for your company. But moving forward, we just want to continue to expand, serve more clients around the nation, around the world. We just are also developing our services a little bit more. We added a VIP day recently for social media, which I think is really beneficial for people not wanting to hire the management part, and they want to continue to work on it their own, but they need like the strategy and the help developing that themselves. So that's been our newest offer, which has been really fun for me to still be in the social media world without doing the social media management so much, since I've hired someone else for that part. So that's been fun. And then, just kind of trying to just keep pushing along and enjoying the ride.
Awesome. So I'm curious, as you're doing your rebrand, I'll speak from my personal experience. I'm curious if you found the same, but I find that it's easier for me to work on clients' work than my own work, not just for the time aspect, because there's that, but like when you're capable of doing anything, not to sound silly, but like I find it's harder to nail it down, because it's like you could make it whatever you want. And so literally the sky's the limit. And so, I feel like I'm changing things more on my own than I would, particularly for a client. Is that something that you find with yours, or what has your experience been?
I did at first, but for some reason I've been working with a business coach this summer for 4 months. We worked together, and that kind of really helped me like get more focused on the direction that I was headed, and get more of that, like, she calls it like villain era energy, which it's more just like releasing the good girl and like letting that go and really stepping into like that higher level energy. And so based off of like the work we had kind of done together, I just made like a mood board for fun and that actually like directed the direction of the branding. So it honestly was easier than I thought it was going to be. I also took myself through our own process. Like I filled out our questionnaires and things like that, which I hadn't done before. I was just like, oh, I could just do whatever I want. And that is like a little bit more limiting. I feel like when there is too many options, it's harder to get more focused. So I was pretty specific with myself in terms of being like, okay, no, you actually have to go through this process yourself because it works for your clients. But before, typically I do have like that struggle where I can do anything. So then it's a little bit harder to get more focused. But this time it was easier than I thought it was going to be. I had so much fun doing it. And it's been like just more like inspiring for the business, and even creating content is more fun, and just bringing a new energy has made a huge difference just in the way I show up and the way I enjoy being in my business even more than I did before.
That's awesome. Yeah. And I would agree with that. That's something I've done too, is just walk through my own process that I take my clients through to get that focus, because otherwise
Yes.
you can just be all over the place because
Yeah, for
capable
sure,
of
for sure.
anything.
Yeah, and I was definitely that way before. So I knew this time I was like, no, we need
Yeah,
to
I
just
can't do that again.
can't do that.
So you've accomplished a ton in your business, professional life, corporate life, business life, but how do you define success? What does that look like for you?
For me, that definitely means like time and financial freedom. So obviously part of owning a business, what's awesome about it is like the financial like aspect of being able to scale as much as you want, as long as you put in the work for it. So that part is exciting because I want to be able to live my life the way I want to live it. So that's the nice aspect of it. And definitely the time freedom for me, like being able to be there for my family and go see my family as much as I want and travel and not like feel worried about being behind or missing anything. Those I would say are the two biggest. And also being able to just like from day to day live a flexible life, like go to the gym when I want to and like work when I want to and not feel. I just knew I was never meant for a 9 to 5. I've never even really had a 9 to 5 because I knew I wouldn't be made for it and I couldn't do it while I was dancing either. But still, like having that flexibility is much more in tune with my personality. And so I enjoy being able to have a structure to my day, but be able to adjust it as needed. So success for me is definitely having those two things. And being a business owner allows me that.
Definitely. No, I love that. And if you had the attention of the whole world for 5 minutes, what would you tell them?
That's a tough one.
It's a big question.
That is a good question, though. I always just like to encourage people to take imperfect action because I know I was a perfectionist growing up and I still kind of, lean that way at times and think things have to be perfect before I can actually take the action. And as a business owner, I've learned that it's actually better to do the opposite. It's better to just have it done than perfect and to just do it and not be like so worried about what's going to happen or what people are going to think and just like trust yourself and go for it. And that for me has been the biggest shift in owning a business and feeling confident in doing everything I've done so far is just like letting go of judgment and letting go of perfectionism a little bit and then just doing it and trusting myself for sure because I've gotten myself this far and I feel like if anybody else can do it, I can do it too. And so why not just go for it? So I guess that's what I would, tell people is to trust yourself and just take imperfect action because you never know where you'll go.
I love it. That's awesome. Now it's powerful. So often we can just hold ourselves back by getting in our own way. So I love
Yeah.
that. Just go do it. So how can listeners support you in your work? Where can they find you online?
Yeah, you can find us at Illuminescence Creations, mostly on Instagram. We are in other places too, but Instagram is where we hang out the most. And then, the link in our bio there is great for now. Like I said, we're redoing our website, so it's down for now, but it will be back up in December.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, we'll definitely come check it out. And all the links will be down below so everybody can come see the brand new website and your branding expertise at work, which is awesome. I can't wait to check it out. Yeah. Well, thank you for being on, Abby. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah, this was so fun. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. And if you found value in this episode, please do share it. That's how people find us. And you can find me at sevenfigurebuilder.com. And I look forward to seeing you on the next episode.